Meghna, can you just talk to us about the markets at 7,500 levels? Do you think closing above that tells us that there is some support at this level and some buying can be expected?
Hi, good afternoon. Yes, well, indeed, 7,500 is a very closely watched mark, I would say. And if you observe the weekly chart of Nifty, there's quite a strong support running at that level. So I think all the eyes are fixed at that level, considering the amount of cluster that we have there. So I guess I would myself wait for a weekly support at that point 7,500. A weekly close below that would really take the market on the weaker side. But if it bounces from there, we still have some upside left on that level.
Right, but say if we were to close below that, say today or maybe tomorrow, what would be the channels on the downside? What is the next support level then?
Below 7,500, I would say 7,350 is a good support. So that would take another 150 points down. So 7,350 seems to be a good support below this level.
Right, but holding on to 7,500, what does that indicate? Is there some buying at this level, or it's essentially, because of a lot of put writing which has happened at 7,500 and some sort of support is being provided?
Well, to say that the market would really, a good bounce from 7,500 would only be indicated by, you would say, bullish candle patterns and the momentum indicators really bouncing out from that level. Any consolidation at 7,500 level would only mean that there is a possibility of further break after some consolidation. So I would like to see some good bullish signs, technically, you would say, at that level to consider going long from there.
Right. What as far as NTPC is concerned? It's a name which we generally don't talk about. Do you think it's starting to see some action, some sort of positive momentum coming in?
Well, it did begin off because the way it's bounced off from the support, but again it's held up at the resistance. The place where it's taken resistance 145 to 150 level, there seems to be a cluster of resistance going on that level. So I would say not really a good buy. I think we need to wait for a retracement and then maybe think of buying, setting up a buy trade into the stock.
Right. How would you look at Jet Airways? Now it's a part of FNO as well from 2016. How would you look at that name?
Been giving a buy call on Jet for quite some time. Jet seems to be a good stock to buy now since it's into the futures market. Further more momentum is built into the stock. Again, after a brief rise, it had gone into consolidation mode from 4 to 5 trading sessions. It's again begun an up move today. So that would be a good stock to go from the long side, I would suggest.
Right. Should one wait for any corrections because markets are volatile? We may get gap up, gap down openings, or at 773 you would advise to buy?
It's a good buy at this level, I would say. You don't need to wait for a correction in the stock.
And what should be the stop loss?
At this level, if one enters, one could place a stop of 745 and then go long at current level.
Right. As far as some of the other names are concerned, maybe Interglobe you don't have history, but SpiceJet in the cash market, again looking very strong.
It is, but if I have to compare, if I have to make a comparison between its counterpart Jet, I would definitely go for a Jet rather than going for SpiceJet.
Right. Meghna, just stay on with us. Markets are just about to close. I'll just read the closing and come back to you. About 2 minutes remaining or slightly lower than that for the markets to close. If you look at the markets, 7,500, slightly above that is what we are closing at. But again, very, very volatile for the day today as well. 50 odd points in terms of decline for Nifty and 129 in terms of Sensex. Top loser, one of the top losers, Tata Motors 1.3% down. Bank of Baroda now closer to 135 levels. That's a big cut on that name. Reliance Industries 0.5% decline. Tata Steel down 2.5%. NTPC up 2.9%. IndusInd Bank 2.6% decline. IndusInd Bank, of course, was a results impact. ONGC 1.5% decline. Adani Ports 1.3% higher. Adani Ports has been going down, but today was looking in on the positive side. Infosys 0.5% decline. Yes Bank down about 3%. Idea down about 4.5%. Tata Power absolutely flat. L&T is up about 0.63%. BHEL 0.5% higher, 150 rupees for BHEL, but really no change. Tech Mahindra 1 to 2 rupees on the lower side. HDFC Limited down about 1%. TCS down 1.7%. Sun Pharma up about 0.7%. Ambuja Cement down about 1% or so. Zee Entertainment 406K in India following what crude is doing. Cipla down up about 2 rupees. towards close. Cipla has been one of the top losers in the past few days. HUL about 1% on the higher side. HDFC Bank 1.1% on the lower side. GAIL down about 1%. Asian Paints flat with a negative bias. Kotak Bank down about 1%. M&M up about 1.7%. Dr. Reddy's 2,926. Ultratech Cement down about 2. Hero MotoCorp down 1.5. Maruti absolutely flat. Bajaj Auto 0.6% on the lower side. Grasim down about 2%. Bosch up about 0.5%. Bajaj Auto down 0.6%. SBI down 2%. Vedanta down about 1% or so. That's the closing bell. 51 points down for the markets. 7,512. Don't think there'll be a lot of change to that provisional number because it was not very volatile in the last 1 hour of trading session. PNB closer to the 99 rupee markets, 3% decline today as well. Continuously every day you're seeing selling into this name. ITC up about 0.25%. NTPC almost up about 2.9. NTPC was among the top gainers. We just spoke to Meghna about that. Adani Ports 237. Idea down about 4%. Infosys results on Thursday. Yes Bank down about 2.9. Bharti Airtel down 1.6%. Idea Cellular down 4%, 124.4 for Idea Cellular, 3.5 million shares traded for that name. PNB below 100 rupees today, so 99.5 in terms of closing. Bank of Baroda 3% decline. PSU banks have clearly been the biggest loser into this rally. IndusInd Bank closed towards the day's low, 908 for IndusInd Bank. Hindalco down 3%, 75.55 for Hindalco, 6 million shares traded. Yes Bank 2.9% decline, 674 for Yes Bank, 3 million shares traded for that name. Axis Bank 2.5% lower, 406 for Axis Bank. Tata Steel down about 2.4%, 245.5 for Tata Steel. SBI down 2%, 199.6 for SBI, 20 million shares traded. Kane India down about 2%, 127 for Kane India, clearly following what's happening to crude. Ultratech down about 2%, 2,670 for Ultratech, 2.5 lakh shares traded for this name. NTPC 2.9% higher, 145 for NTPC was the top gainer. Wipro lost out a few days back, but today down up about 1.8%. M&M up about 1.7, 1,182 for M&M. Adani Ports 1.3% higher, 237 for that name. HUL was flat with a positive bias. Let's pull up the results name. So a Federal Bank, we spoke to the management. It's a 230 factor stock and management gave a positive outlook, but if you look at the name, it was down 7%, 48.3 for Federal Bank. Let's look at IndusInd Bank as well. They had declared numbers. I believe they closed at the day's low. TCS would be declaring numbers today. It will be declaring numbers post-market hours, so it was down 1.92 ahead of results. IndusInd Bank, there you go, 908. Towards the end also, there was a little bit of selling into this name. So probably, numbers would not have got well with the investors. We were talking to Meghna. She's still with us. Meghna, any view on IndusInd Bank selling after decent set of numbers?
It's moved into a long consolidation, I would say, but it's still better considering the way Bank Nifty is moving. So if you see the weekly chart, it's still in the higher top, higher bottom range. So it would not be a very good trade at this point of time. I'd rather wait for it to break on the range on the upside before taking a long trade.
Right. So as of now, you would clearly avoid this name?
Yes, absolutely. Because at best, if I have to take, I would trade options I would trade this the stock by selling options rather than going either long or short on the stock.
Right. What would you make of an Axis Bank and an ICICI touching a 52-week low daily? Daily, you are seeing selling into these names.
If you see Axis Bank, it's making lower top, lower bottom in daily chart. So it's been also in weekly chart. So it's been in a sell mode since quite some time. And it's also showing, if you have to compare it with ICICI, I would say it's much weaker than its counterpart. So if I have to take a short, I would rather take it on Axis Bank rather than ICICI.
Right, but overall the formation of both the banks is looking weak. There is no signs of any bottom formation over there.
Not right now. It would take quite some consolidation first to begin with on the daily chart and then on weekly chart for it to say that it's made of bottom. For me to say comfortably that the stock is bottomed out.
Right. PNB below 100 rupees. Last time I think it took support at 99. This time around, any chances of that level being breached?
Oh, sorry, I'm not tracking that bank.
Right. Bank of Baroda, how would you view that? One of the best banks in terms of FII ownership?
Yes, I would say it's much better than its counterparts, but it's if you see the daily and the weekly chart, the cracks have begun appearing in that as well. There was a strong support at around 140 level. It seems to be endangered. So from the long side, at the current level, I would not say. I would say I'm not a very good buy at this point of time.
Right. Overall, the banking space you would avoid?
Yes, absolutely. Because if you see bank Nifty, if you compare it with Nifty, it's going weaker. So I would rather avoid the banking space and go into more mid-cap stocks such as Jet Airways, what we just discussed, or Morpen Laboratories, HDI, something like that.
Which are the names that you like in the mid-cap space? Can you just detail them? Morpin Labs, HDI, what would be the targets over there? Any other names also that you like?
Morpen Lab is holding on to the support, so I think the next target that I will see on the stock from here would be at its 45 levels. HDL, when we talk about HDL, the stock seems to be showing some signs of indecisiveness at the current level. It's not breaking the bottom. So I think it would be a good risk-reward ratio to get into the stock right now for higher levels from here. So I would say if it holds on to the 76 mark for the weekend close, it could go up to 86 levels from here. So that is one more stock to look out at. Jet Airways is one more stock which is continuing the up move after a short period of consolidation. So that is one more stock to look out at.
Right. Any view on IRB? I was just looking at the closing. It's down to 230 levels. So clearly, a level that was not being breached of 240 is now breached on a closing basis. Does that tell you that it could go back to the levels of 200?
It could, but till the time 220 is broken, on the lower side you would say 220, on the higher side it's at 270. It's been going around this 50-point zone since many months. So I think I would rather not give any view on the stock till the time either the 270 is breached on the upside or 220 is breached on the downside. So by selling calls and puts is the only way to take to trade the stock rather than going long or short.
Meghna, thank you so much for taking out time for us. Always a pleasure talking to you.